Well, hello, you amazing patrons. Just checking in to say a quick hello and to tell you about what's coming this week, and also to show you something very cool, collectible, and creepy. So the first thing to say is the Peter Laws podcast is coming out tomorrow, and there's a bunch of different things I'm talking about there, but it spends quite a while talking about a tweet that I shared today, which kind of blew up a little bit, having a lot of people commenting it on retweeting it, and I've never really seen one of my tweets go that, well, not viral, but that popular before, and it's exploring why that went popular. The book that I was talking about, a very strange photography book, and go into that into some depth. And so with that episode, there are a bunch of photographs of the book to look at. So if you're listening from tomorrow or whenever, if you just go onto the episode, and hopefully it'll be clear where the photographs are. It's a book by a guy called Dave Lee Travis, and he's a DJ from famous in the 70s and 80s in Britain, but is a controversial figure, and this book adds to the mystique, be that in a good way or in a scary, disturbing way. That's up to you to decide. So anyway, that's tomorrow, coming from 5 a.m. The other podcast I do, Frightful, has a new episode out, which is available, and it's a spooky one. It's looking at phone calls from the dead. The idea of people, just getting a phone call one day, picking it up and saying hello, and it turns out it's somebody they know who has died, or it's someone who they know who they don't realize has died until a day later they discover that the person has been dead for 6 months, and yet they had a conversation with them on the phone. So pretty creepy. How would you feel about getting a phone call from a dead person? You might think, actually, there's some people I'd love to have that from. It would be very comforting, which is probably very true for some. And yet if you listen to some of these stories, you'll find that a few of them are much more disturbing, and the people who call do not seem to be in a good way at all. So anyway, that's available on itsfrightful.net, or just find Frightful in your podcast apps. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, still working on a Creepy Cove, which will be coming at the beginning of March. That's the plan. So looking forward to sharing that with you. Now, let me show you something cool. I've shown you some of these sorts of things before, but this is a different one. It's one you haven't seen. The Dark Adventure Radio Theatre, which is the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. They make these really great kind of oldie-worldy 1920s, 1930s style radio shows, which are just great. You can get them all on Audible and places like that. However, if you get the physical editions, you get not just a disc, but you get extras. And so this is of the Dunwich Horror, or the Dunwich Horror, however you want to pronounce it, which is one of H.P. Lovecraft's most famous works. And here we have, let me show you some of the things you get with it. So for example, you get, let me see, let me just open this up to make sure this, oh yeah, so here is a piece of paper torn from the Arkham Advertiser. Look at that. If you can read that, the Arkham Advertiser. It looks so authentic. It looks like a proper old paper. And then here we are. We have, talk about something in the story. Something about Noah Whately, the dad of one of the main characters in the story. So kind of torn out clipping from the 1917 edition of the Arkham Advertiser. Let's see what else is in here. We've got also, turn this over, we've got a page ripped from Wilbur Whately's copy of the Necronomicon. How cool is that? It's been aged really well, and it's literally, yes, a page from the Necronomicon. These are the sorts of things that if you wanted to, you could frame this stuff, just have it on there like, oh, what's that on the wall? Oh, it's Wilbur Whately's torn out bit of paper from the Necronomicon. Just really cool, and it just feels pretty convincing. Here is also, it comes with a vintage map of Dunwich and the Sentinel Hill. So have a look at this. Again, you can stick that on your wall, couldn't you? So a map, and it's got you know, bits that look like it's been aged, and a little note here from the library, from the Division of Maps, to Professor Armitage. It's all there. And finally, we've got a page of Wilbur Whately's secret encrypted diary. So there, look, you can see with the you know, symbols on it and all of these sort of bizarre writings, and then pictures of like freaky creatures, and it's just very, very cool. And of course, this all just adds to the atmosphere when you're listening to these really well put together audio productions. So I've got a bunch of these things. I've got quite a few of them actually just purely digital, so I don't have all the props. But for some of them, I have, well, quite a few. I have physical editions, and so I have the props, and they're just really, really cool. Anyway, so that is, I'll show you some more of these some nights, but this is Dark Adventure Radio Theatre, the Dunwich Horror. Well, thanks for listening. I will see you again either tomorrow or from tomorrow, for those of you who have access to the Peter Laws podcast, or you know, later in the week, or Frightful. And have a great week, and thank you for being amazing patrons. Bye-bye.